my name is Tani from UnraveledMotherhood.com, and today let's talk about momming and screen time. So I've made a video about screen time with kids in the past. Today I wanted to talk about screen time as moms. I recently skimmed through The Anxious Generation, and I do recommend, if you can borrow it from somebody, skimming through it. It's really intriguing and interesting to see the data that we kind of know if you've done any research at all about screen time and about how it affects us. The premise of the book is basically that this generation, or the generation after the millennials, which is 1996 and then further, has been the most anxious generation to date. Is focusing on the generation after the millennials and why they're so anxious. And the biggest factor that this book talks about is the iPhone and the ability to have interactions online rather than having interactions in person. And basically the author is encouraging us to, as educators and as parents, to limit screen time use, especially personal phone use and social media use in kids, and how it really can damage their esteem. Today I want to talk about being a mom and being on a screen, and I just want to encourage you that you can do less screen time and you will probably, I can almost guarantee, be more happy. So let's get into it. So the first reason that you should consider spending less time on screens, especially social media, is because screens steal your time. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm making a YouTube video and I hope you watch it and I hope you enjoy it. And I do the same. I watch YouTube videos, I feel inspired, I enjoy them, I feel encouraged by biblical YouTube videos and things like that. But they steal your time. So if I spend 3 hours or 2 hours even, or even 1 hour on social media or on YouTube watching videos, I am losing opportunity to do everything else in my life. 1 yes is 1,000 no's. There's some sort of quote like that. Every time I'm saying yes to something, so if I say yes to consuming media for 1 hour, I'm saying no to maybe the laundry that's on this couch over here that I'm not doing currently, maybe spending time with my kids, maybe reading that book that I've really wanted to read and just haven't gotten to sit down because I haven't had the time. Well, I'm wasting my time, or spending it wisely depending on what I'm doing, on a screen. So recognizing that each time you sit down to be on your screen, on your phone or your computer, it's a time that cannot be returned. You are not going to be able to sew that project. You are not going to be able to do the things if you are spending your time engrossed in a screen. So don't let screens steal all your time away. We'll get into some tips on how to do that. The second is screens can steal your joy. Now, I love a good movie every once in a while. Me and my husband just enjoyed a good movie. We sometimes watch movies with our kids, probably like once every 3 months maybe. And I do watch YouTube videos probably every other day, sometimes every day. But sometimes being on a screen for too long can steal your joy. And that's not to say the content is bad. Sometimes it's just an overwhelming amount of content. You're watching someone do sourdough recipes and you're looking at your sourdough in the back of the fridge and kind of bummed that you haven't been doing sourdough. Then you're watching someone else sew something. Then you're watching someone plant their garden. And the reality is watching it doesn't make it happen for you, and also can start to make you feel guilty for all the things you are not doing and you're not able to do. These people are making a video and showing you a snippet of their life. Of course, they're not going to show you the parts where they're lying on their couch doing nothing, but it's not to say what they're doing is wrong or even misleading. It's just to say you're one person, and when you consume too much media, you're not even able to be inspired by that thing and kind of go after it, because you're bombarded with so many ideas and thoughts and things you want to do and things you aren't getting to do, and all those things are piling up in your mind and can be causing anxiety for you. So we want to stop spending so much time on social media. If we want to be inspired to sew, let's watch a couple sewing videos and let's call it a day and start actually sewing. Because the reality is, you can spend all day watching videos of how to do this and how to do that, but the real experience comes from doing the actual work, trying and failing and trying again. So persevere. Get off that screen and do the things you want to do. If you want to sew, just do it. There's so many things that I just waited for so long to do, and it just takes a second to just dive in. And if you fail, chances are it's going to be okay, and you're going to have another opportunity to try again or to do something different. So, my last point for why we as moms should try to consume less screens is it depletes our ability to connect with others. Have you ever been in a room where everyone's just on their phone, or in a situation where you want to talk to somebody and they're just on a text message, in a video? It's so hard to connect because screens take us away from what's in front of us and take us somewhere else. And that's kind of like the beauty of watching a movie, is you can be taken away by a story, you can be engrossed in a story and experience it, and you can draw meaningful conclusions from that story. But when it comes to being on a screen constantly and not as a group effort, just a single screen, we lose the ability to communicate with each other in a meaningful way, especially when we're moms and our children just want our attention. They want just us to be there and us to be connecting with them, and that's so beautiful. And why would we throw that away just to watch a video or just catch up with friends? The reality is, we're not actually making meaningful connections online. There is some aspect of having a meaningful connection online, but it's completely different than having a meaningful connection with someone who is right in front of you and who loves you dearly. So let's spend less time connecting with people online and more connecting with the people who God has placed right in front of us. Our husbands, our children, our friends. I tried to record this video, and two of my friends at separate times, so basically like the last 6 hours, I've been visiting, like two friends came. Like one friend came, was chatting, brought some pizza, then another friend came. And so those relationships are way more important than a screen relationship, because they're getting to dive in completely to my life, and those are so important to nourish, rather than spending time nourishing this connection with someone online. Even if it's a close friend of yours, maybe you can find a different way to communicate that doesn't have to involve you constantly on a screen. Maybe you write a letter, maybe you have a nice phone call, but giving some effort in that way is probably going to be more meaningful than being on social media and liking and commenting on each other's pictures. So where does that leave us? Screens are not ideal. They're not the best for our families and for our friendships and our life. So what do? How do we get away from these screens? Well, my first tip is to limit the screens in your house. I personally got rid of our TV about 5 years ago, maybe around 5 years ago. I got rid of our actual TV. So if we want to watch a movie as a family, we pull out the projector. If me and my husband want to watch a movie, we either watch it on the projector or my bigger computer, or he has a tablet for work, so his like tablet. But limiting the availability of screens really helps you to put it into perspective. Like, if you have to make an effort to get a screen on, it makes it a lot easier to say no. I personally had to move back to, I went to the flip phone or a dumb phone, then I went back to the iPhone because it wasn't working out with group text, and I went to a flip phone. That was fine, and then the flip phone was acting really weird, so then I went back to the iPhone, and now I'm back at the flip phone. So my point is, you gotta know your limits. I'm not the type of person that can have an iPhone and not get distracted. Like, I will get distracted. I will have a hard time with it. Even if I've done the minimalist phone thing, I've done all of it, and I just will find a way to still get distracted and be on a phone once the kids are in bed, or once, or if I'm looking for a recipe. I just am too distracted by it. And even texting, like, I will sit there and text my friends and chat. I'm just a talkative person, so I think having a smartphone is really bad for me, because I will just, I'm bored, so let me just text this friend. I'm thinking of this friend. And it is great to talk to your friends when you think of them, but sometimes it's even better to just sit there, pray for them, and then reach out to them at a later time. So my flip phone really prevents me from being able to send out a text really quickly. It takes me a while. I have to sit down and kind of type it out, but then it stays there. I don't get distracted by my email, by any kind of apps, or even Safari, or looking up a recipe. I just want to look this up. So find ways that work for you. When I did have the iPhone, I did time limits and had the screen lock, like, not the screen lock, but had locks on it that my husband had the code to. So you can do that. You can do that with a friend, like get a friend to choose the password for you. So they have to allow you to change, your settings. But find ways to minimize your time on your screen. And trust me, you're going to be happier. You're not going to be inundated with bad news, with TMI about people you literally have no connection with, except for you went to high school together. It's so crazy to me in this time of social media. You can go to like a store and you see somebody and you haven't seen them for years, but you know so many details of their life because they've shared it online and you've already saw it. So you have to either pretend you didn't see all those things and you don't know how they're doing or what's going on in their life, or you have to bring it up, and it's just so awkward. I just love the freedom of not knowing what my friends have been up to, what's been happening with them, and being able to actually connect with them and ask them how things are going and what's new in their life. So just consider these things. Pray about lessening screen time for you as a mom, and I bet you that you will have less stress and anxiety, and I bet you will find that you are having more of an enjoyment of your children when you are able to just see your children and you're not constantly distracted by screens. It's so nice. And so I just wanted to encourage you. You don't need your screen. You don't need social media. You can enjoy the life that you have. And if you aren't enjoying the life you have and you're using social media to escape the life you have, maybe it's time to make a change. Maybe it's time to take a risk, or change something up. Take up a new hobby. Read a good book. I just read Anne of Green Gables, and I've never read that before, and it was just so sweet. So I'm trying to get my sister to read it. Hopefully she'll read it soon so we can talk about it. So anyways, on that note, don't watch any more videos unless there's something specifically you want to watch. Try to get off of social media as soon as possible, and don't spend too many hours, because you don't want that feeling of, wow, I just wasted so much of my life on this screen. So I hope this video is a blessing to you. I hope that if you enjoyed it, you'll subscribe, and I hope that if you have tips for spending less time on your screen, you will share that in the comments below. Thanks for being here. Bye.